So, Seamilk, we're on an adventure.
Yay!
And we have to talk about something fairly serious here in China, and that is that we are currently in danger. And why are we in danger?
Because motorcyclists in China are treated like absolute trash due to social status.
Yeah, I mean, we're second-class citizens. We may as well just not even be human beings at this point. And we're going to be riding along, and we're going to try and explain to everybody out there why this is the case and why, you know, motorcycles are seen as a blight here in China rather than a recreation or something.
And kind of how China's changing the whole scene of transportation as well.
Absolutely.
All right.
Let's hit the road.
Let's do it.
Okay, Seamilk, so you and I both have cars here in China, right? You know, we've got the license, we've bought the cars, but we still prefer to ride bikes to go on these little adventures because, you know, motorcycling, it's all about recreation and freedom, you know, in the West.
Absolutely.
However, you know, it's incredibly dangerous here. Not only have we been like victims of like people basically driving into us, but we see it all the time. We see fatalities and we see people just basically being run over by trucks, and, you know, cars don't slow down for motorcyclists. They pull out in front of them without warning, you know, all that kind of thing. So let's try and explain to everybody why that's the case.
Now, the real mystery is actually why we continue to ride motorcycles, and a lot of people in the comments section of all of our channels ask that very question, because, you know, if we might like riding motorcycles, but why would we put ourselves in danger, right?
Correct.
Well, again, like you said, riding motorcycles is super fun. It's the best way to have an adventure, but I would say China is probably one of the most dangerous places to do it, and that's because of social status, like we said in the beginning. Now, motorcycles have always been like the step up from bicycles, but socially, you know, in terms of your face, you know, as a moneyed or poor person here in China, one step below a car. And people that ride motorcycles typically have lower end jobs, like being a farmer. You know, they're hauling around sacks of rice on the back of them, or factory workers that are going to and from, you know, the factory. They need cheap transportation, so they buy cheap Chinese motorcycles. Now, that
Correct.
stigma is kind of carried over to the motorcycle in general, and it kind of leaves us in a situation where people, you know, they don't really tell the difference between a real motorcycle, like a good quality, nice motorcycle, and someone that's doing it as a hobby versus somebody that's, you know, lugging sacks of rice back and forth.
Yeah,
So, go ahead.
I'd like to say that, first of all, in order to obtain a motorcycle in China, just like other countries, there are laws. You know, you're supposed to have a license, a motorcycle driver's license.
Right.
You are supposed to register your motorcycle and insure it, etc., but nobody does.
Right.
Basically, you can buy a motorcycle for about $300-400 US brand new.
Exactly.
From the dealership. People don't register them, you know, especially in the rural areas. They just buy them and ride them.
Like
They're-
here.
Yeah, they're unlicensed. You can see no one wears a helmet, you
Right.
know. No one follows the road rules. They just ride
This
wherever
guy's
they
listening
want.
to music without a helmet.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, they don't understand about safety, and the motorcyclists themselves in these rural areas drive like absolute garbage.
Right,
They
they'll
will
pull
just
out.
pull out. They will go wherever they look is where they go, and there's no rhyme or reason. So, you know, for anyone in society here, they don't see getting a motorcycle as a challenge because anyone could do it.
Right.
You know, if you've got like $300 US there, bam, you got your motorcycle. So you can just be any like old pleb, you know.
Yeah.
And let's talk about cars for a minute, though. How about you begin with that?
Well, cars have, you know, are a recent addition to China because, you know, the average salary here has never been up to, you know, even second world standards until recently. So people now can buy or can afford to buy Chinese cars. For example, this would be a good example. This thing here is probably about $6,000-7,000 new. So people can buy one of those for the family instead of riding a motorcycle, thinking that that's kind of, you know, a better option.
Yeah.
The problem is it's contributing to worse and worse traffic. These people are clogging up the roads with these really poor quality, easy to break down cars.
Yeah.
And it's honestly making it much worse. Although the government is kind of happy that more cars are on the road and less motorcycles are on the road, at least when they want to show show China to the rest of the world.
Correct.
That's kind of why a lot of motorcycle bans and this kind of stigma against motorcycles is because Chinese have this preconceived notion, right? I wanted to kind of go into the actual danger of it. So we said they're treated like trash because of the social status, right?
Yeah.
But what do they actually do on the road towards motorcycles, like a car? How is it dangerous for a motorcycle rider?
Well, okay, let's first of all, we've got to explain that the average Chinese person has no knowledge of cars.
Right.
They were never brought up like we were, driving in the backseat of our parents' cars and grandparents' cars, and so cars are a new thing for them.
Right.
And they don't understand how cars work. They feel absolutely invulnerable when they drive around in the car, you know?
Right,
It's their own little bubble, you know, and they feel empowered and they feel like they're like higher and better than everyone else because now they got a car.
Right.
If a motorcycle is there, they believe that it's their right to like just go wherever they want because now they're important enough to own a car, and the motorcycle guy is just a scumbag who has to like get out of the way, you know. And so when they see a motorcycle coming down the road, and bear in mind most motorcyclists in China drive very slowly, they see a motorcycle coming down the road, they actually don't even acknowledge them.
Right.
If they wanted to pull out in front of us right now and they're like a meter in front of us, they'll do it, you know. And you know, they will often get aggravated that there's a motorcycle on the road and actually try to run them off, you know. Because they're like, how dare you be on my road?
Right.
Kind of like in the West, how people don't like cyclists.
There's actually a much darker part to that, like in addition to that. I don't know if we should say it, but I'm going to do it anyway.
Yeah.
There's an attitude I've seen amongst the wealthier individuals that I've been in the car with.
Yeah.
And that is, if they hit a motorcycle or a peasant on a bicycle or whatever in these countryside areas, the amount that they would have to pay to kind of get out of it doesn't, you know, necessitate driving carefully.
Yes.
They actually think of them as lesser human beings to the point that they know that if they run one of these peasants over like that guy, then they're not in that much trouble. They have enough connections to be able to get out of it.
Yeah.
And I believe wholeheartedly that influences the way they drive.
Yeah, absolutely. You're absolutely right. And we've got plenty of like video evidence, so we're going to show a couple of clips here. We'll blur out anything too graphic, but you know, the fact of the matter is that motorcyclists are treated like absolute trash, like subhuman, you know, here in China. And, you know, that's pretty much the be-all and the end-all of it, really. You've got a situation where motorcyclists here, they don't care about gear, they don't wear protection, they very rarely wear helmets, only if it's cold, so only for like the weather.
Right.
So they don't wear protection, they drive like shit, you know. So, and they mess up the place and they screw up traffic, and then at the same time you've got the arrogant car people who, you know, basically don't care about the lives of these motorcyclists, and you know, they drive like shit too, so it's a very dangerous combination.
For sure. My last piece of advice, really, if you're gonna ride in China, watch out for that. Like anytime you see a path on your side, you watch out for that, because that's gonna be the cause of almost every accident you have.
Yes, because they're gonna pull out.
Drive way ahead of everyone. Don't be the slow guy in amidst all this crazy chaotic traffic, because people are using their phones, they're smoking cigarettes, they're having conversations, they're pulling out, they're braking randomly like this Landwind.
Yeah, which is a copy of a Land Rover. Nice.
There you go.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff happens, so get ahead of everyone else.
Yes,
be
exactly.
in front.
There's one more thing I wanted to add as a supplement to kind of give people an idea, because people think that we're being like what's the word, like being arrogant and being like real, like douchebags is the best word, saying, oh, they don't understand cars and stuff. It's just the truth, you know, like people drive Lamborghinis on dirt roads and stuff. And I mean, there's that tragic story about that woman trying to park her SUV in her own apartment where she killed herself and her husband in front of their child, you know, that kind of thing. And just stupid stuff happening around China.
Personal story. My mother-in-law missed an exit on the highway, so she backed up on the highway, going in reverse until she figured out that she wouldn't be able to make it. There's too much traffic. So she did a U-turn and drove the wrong way down the highway until she got on the exit. Like, come on.
Yeah, I've got one more.
Okay.
I was actually driving in my car in the fast lane. you know, the maximum speed on the highway, 120. There was a car in front of me. I was keeping good following distance. He saw an exit that he thought he might need to take.
Right.
And he stopped.
Right.
Right there in the fast lane. He just stopped there.
I see that.
To check his GPS.
Yeah.
And I was going full speed. I had to like slam on brakes, skidded with the ABS and everything, almost, you know, died.
Right.
And then he just casually kind of like sat there for a little while and checked his GPS, and he's like, okay, and he just went straight, like, you know, straight off to the side and took the exit. I was furious.
It's weird with all these near-death experiences that people always have.
Yeah.
You look at their face,
yeah,
and you never see a sense of shock or surprise.
Yeah, it's
They're just like
so, yeah,
it's not my time.
Yeah, totally. So anyway, I think we've pretty much covered it, guys. If you do ever end up on a motorcycle in China, please be aware that people do not respect you, and they don't have any regard for your life.
Yeah.
Be very careful, and especially the lower class people that have just gotten cars.
Yes.
They're drunk on the power of having a car now.
Oh yeah.
And they think they're better than anyone on a motorcycle, and they're gonna go out of their way to prove it. So please be careful.
Yes.
Anything you'd like to say to everyone before we sign off?
If you're ever on a bike, whether you're in the West or you know, in China or Asia in general, keep the rubber side down, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
Absolutely. And whether or not you are a horrible douchebag driving a car here in China, or you're a motorcyclist like this guy over here, well, not like that guy. All right. Remember, as always, you know the drill. Stay awesome.